I developed my own way of making a movie, which I started with Black Fridays, shooting on the street in full public view.
Which was produced by Midday, by the way.
Which is produced by
Yes,
Midday.
yes.
And,
So it's a great coincidence.
which was a big advantage because I learnt it because Midday got us these badges because it was Midday. And we told everyone we are from Midday and we are doing a documentary. So in that whole process of shooting Black Friday, I learned how to shoot on the streets of Bombay without people ever finding out. The market pressures are such to market the film. You know, if your film has songs, it gets free airplay time and marketing time.
Yeah.
We have to figure out ways to get the film out there. And what is actually the new platforms and things, it helps us to make all kinds of films today. You can be political, much more political than you could be in last 10, 15, 20 years.
Right. You tried to change that about Bombay films in terms of taking it to a
I was only trying to
a
survive.
lot of films that you produced which...
Yeah, I was
which
only trying to survive and find a way because I was tired of people telling me nobody wants to see your film. I had to find a way to survive and sustain. So I was doing that because I spent a lot of time trying to understand how I can take my film out because my films were not releasing yet. Till 2007 Black Friday came out, films were not releasing. So I had to find a way to take it out. I spent a lot of time understanding how the market works and I had to make a film that I owned so I could give it to experiment which happened with Yellow Boots.
Right.
Which I just gave away to figure out the market.
Right. You were like this wild child who enters films, who is, looking to be, looking for that validation from the film industry, which is not
I was very aggressive.
Right. So you were a threat as against, you wanted to actually enter the mainstream.
I made myself into a threat. I don't think I was, because initially my career started because I was not a threat, which is right, because I was available to do any job for anyone for free, because I was learning. I wanted to learn when I wanted to figure out that I can do it or not. Not more than learning was also like do it or not, or if I had to correct myself along the way.
Right.
So till then I was available and doing everything and I never posed myself as a threat to anyone. I was available to do things for free and that's how I broke in. Because I was doing everything for anyone and everyone. But then I became a threat post in the early 2000s because I started fighting it aggressively for the sustenance of a certain kind of cinema and pushing it because I realized it won't happen otherwise. Because the 70s and 80s are not going to come back. Cinemas were changing. Because at that time, if I had to see a film, and the kind of film I like to watch, I had to travel all the way to town and it would be in one cinema. But it would be running in that one cinema for 20 weeks. And by 20th week, it would be running in one cinema in one show.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. And like, that also started to be taken away from us. So it was a massive fight. And then multiplexes came in to just get a film out there, to release it, to make people believe that it can work. It was very different.
Right.
So we had
But multiplexes made a huge difference actually.
Yeah, actually.
It gave an incredible boost to filmmakers who were not part of the mainstream, as it were.
Yeah.
Because you had to fill a theatre of 60 seats, 100 seats. So that wasn't that difficult.
That made it easy.
Yeah, that made a difference. That made a huge difference.
The single screens was very difficult for us at that time.
Right.
I'm saying, how do you fill 800 seats with the kind of content you're creating?
And that many shows and for that many weeks.
No, one show and that too, they would not give us more than morning show. I'm saying the kind of cinema I believed in would not get more than morning show because morning show was given to a film which has less audience.
Like the way Mr. Bengal created an ecosystem of actors, picked them up from FTI,
I did it for my own.
You did the same thing, didn't you?
I didn't do it thinking I'm creating an ecosystem. I never had money to make movies. So I developed my own way of making a movie, which I started with Black Fridays, shooting on the street in full public view. I had no other option. I had to hide the camera and shoot everywhere. Like when I was shooting Black Friday, I had to create Zaveri Bazaar, I had no money. So I had to shoot in Zaveri Bazaar. I have to create all these locations. I had to shoot in there.
Which was produced by Midday, by the way.
Which is produced by
Yes,
Midday.
yes.
And,
So it's a great coincidence.
which was a big advantage because I learnt it because Midday got us these badges because it was Midday. And we told everyone we are from Midday and we are doing a documentary. So in that whole process of shooting Black Friday, I learned how to shoot on the streets of Bombay without people ever finding out. So I made a language. The primary requirement for that language, I needed to work with people who are not recognized.
Right.
So my primary need was that. So I went looking for actors who were not known and were good actors. So not known actors can only sustain themselves. One, they need to have screen presence and they have to be very good. So I spent a lot of time casting. So I created casting systems like Gautam or Mukesh or everybody. So I created a system where we find very strong actors
So they can go out there and source talent.
and train them beforehand. So I can make them perform on the street without attracting attention and being part of it. Like how in Mukha was in a traffic jam, I'm shouting and seen. And nobody knows where the camera is. People think that's actually something happening.
Right.
So I developed my own technique of making a movie without money. And that
No, but what
I
about,
needed.
what about Gangs of Wasseypur? for
Same,
instance?
I shot the same way.
That was absolutely.
I shot the same way.
extraordinary,
Plus, what
actually.
happened was, I took every favor I could possible because I went in where I grew up, and it was the primary knowledge of I know this ghost town exists. Houses are there. Shooting in the house that my brother was born in, growing up in, shooting in my town, pulling in all the favors, going to a coal mine, and knowing that the mountain is going to blow up. So waiting for the mountain to blow up. So then we can just get the shot. So we're not paying for the mountain to blow up. So we just went. So that has been the way I shoot. I just shoot and finding abandoned houses, building. I just finished shoot yesterday. I found a whole society that's going into redevelopment. So before it goes into redevelopment, we go and occupy that society. We inhabit every house and we make it look like a society. And it costs less money.
Right.
And we don't have to create sets. So that's how I've been shooting.
Right.
So I need to work with actors who are not known.
No, but when you shot Gangs of Wasseypur, you were shooting in a town in UP Bihar area. And there, of course, it's so difficult to keep the crowds away.
Yeah, but that's also because we used to do it very discreetly. Like I have never used to bring in vanity vans. Our actors will be staying somewhere. They'll come in only who's required for the shots. So take the camera first. Camera is set up. There's no crowd. There's hardly crew is always out. Actors come in. I very quietly would talk to them and tell them that this is what you're doing here. And we shoot like that. In a traffic jam, we shot a chase with hidden cameras. So and it took us 9 days to shoot 1 hour, 2 hours each.
Yeah.
Like Wasseypur actually can be used as a proof of sand mining mafia and coal mining mafia because they're real shots with real people stealing sand and coal. We just shot like a documentary filmmaker. So that film is a proof. That's an evidence. So I know that we used to get picked up and put into, my assistants and people used to get put up in the lockup because we wanted to create a sequence of the chase and the firing at the street. And we obviously gave them fake guns, but it made sound.
Right.
So they're actually firing and crowd was actually dispersing. So I used to do things like that. Most people come here to be actors and things like that, but now there's so many job opportunities in the media which consumes them. That whole thing that has come down is that passion for making a movie and living and dying for it has kind of reduced. People have opportunity. They put up their videos on YouTube and they do things and a lot of people come because of that too.
But like in your case, Anurag, when you, and of course, slightly take us through the change that took place in that Warszawa area also because you've seen through it. You've almost been...
For me, very special. I have had memories. Like when I was doing Bombay Velvet and I was constantly arguing because I remember I used to take the bus, number 84 from Andheri. And that bus used to take us through Nepean Sea Road and I could still see tram tracks with those brick paved roads. That disappeared. And for me, that memory of it, those double-decker buses and always sitting on the top in the front, those memories, I have very strong memories of it. And it's a kind of a nostalgia that you feel about these things. We used to travel in buses and we used to travel in trains, and I remember taking Harbour Line because Andheri was the first station. So you got a seat.
Yeah.
And you sat there and you waited 10 minutes before it started. So all those things were there, and then it was much easier to travel from Andheri in a bus than in a rickshaw because the roads were pretty empty. There was nothing much there. All the in-betweens were not there. I've literally seen everything come up in front of me. All the buildings, I've seen mangroves being moved in front of my eyes. And now I think, most of the, now it's like, it actually works like for all my actors, they at least get very good roles and character roles and things and in mainstream and some lead as well.
Right.
But the old
that
star
transition has changed.
But the old star system doesn't work
Yeah.
anymore.
The old star system doesn't work anymore.
That
And
doesn't
there is
work
a kind
anymore.
of an equality, there's a kind of a democracy to how the medium has changed. Because with online and with everything, a lot has changed.
Right.
I'm saying if you really look at it, a person who pulls in the biggest crowd are people like Bhuvan Bam, who's just a YouTube sensation. He walks in there and there'll be a massive crowd. And he commands much more. Like stars go to him to say that recommend my film. Something, things have changed. The new
Because the
generation.
distributor's gone, right? The
That
middleman is
in
gone.
between person has gone. No, and not just that. Is like my generation, like my daughter. They know everybody who's online more than they know people who are in cinemas. Because when you talk to them about some actor, they don't know who it is. When you talk to them about influencer, Instagram people and YouTube people, they know them. So that generation is totally different. I have people getting upset with me saying, you follow me on Insta but you don't like my pictures. I don't understand. like my picture, I have to like click a button. Because if I don't click a button, it offends people. For me, that's a whole new generation.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.